Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Perfect. For those of you that are just getting on, to come in to be able to chat and stuff, please just look down at the bottom under the chat and you'll see enter your name, your first name, somebody's name, doesn't matter, to join the conversation. There's no need to sign up for anything or to give your email or anything like that. If you're on a phone, you'll see at the bottom, just click on the chat, expand that out, and you'll see where you can enter your name. Tell us where you're from when you do that. All right. So who is here today? So we're going to get started in a couple minutes, folks, as we wait for people to come on. Joyce and Danny and Ellen, how are you guys? Hey, Kevin and Mary, if you're there. Robert from Kingston. Hey, Carter. Jim from Winterbake. Welcome, Jim. Kirsten, how are you? Another fellow Canadian. Hey, Roger from Montreal. Kirsten, that's on our website. It's not a Panamanian website. Theirs is so outdated, you have no idea. Just go to retireinpanamatours.com, type pets in the search, and you'll bring, and I keep that article most totally updated. So the Panama Embassy also has one, but they haven't updated it in a couple of years, so you gotta watch. Machine Gun Mike says, "Go Bears!" Hey, Andy. Andy's from my mother's room. Hey, Andy, we talked this week. How are you? Kirsten, don't worry. I won't say anything about you calling me Ron. Don't you worry about it at all. Just teasing, you know that. Dave, how are you doing? Okay, the crowds are starting to join now. Hey, Tom and Mary Joe, good to have you. And it will be good to have you. Yeah, meet you soon. Hey, Raymond. My bad, Rod. Don't you worry about it. Uh, Woohoo, Carter's got a new passport. Jack, you certainly can. We'll talk about that during the call tonight. Best way to approach it. We just finished the tour. Yes, well, what day is it? No, this morning, and two of the people came a week early and already have their temporary visas. Playa Virto, good for you, Nicole. All right, folks, we are going to get going here. So, welcome to the people. I can't tell who you are, but I know you're there, watching on YouTube and Facebook. You can leave any questions in the comments there if you'd like. And we are quickly going to share who we are. Okay. Now, I say we, there's three of us sitting here a lot of the times, or at least two. Oscar and Megan are on a quick wedding trip, weekend trip. So they are not here tonight. But we are Retire in Panama Tours. We offer small group tours and a self-guided digital products. So this is my business partner, Oscar. We met 14 years ago. He was actually my guide when I came to Panama. So he was my relocation expert. Liked him so much, hey, we became business partners in the first year. and we've been helping people move to Panama ever since. So, and we offer number one, small group tours. We have a maximum of 16 people. That's all that fit in the bus, folks. So if we don't take groups of 30 or 40, we take 16 of you maximum. We had 15 on this last one during the, we call them summer months here, January through April. We're typically full, but we might have smaller groups in the off season. We are totally qualified with over 30 years experience between the three of us. There is the three of us in front of Boquete Park. And I'm from Canada. Oscar's from Colombia, and Megan is from Pennsylvania. And Oscar and Megan are fully 100% bilingual. I am not yet. Will I ever be? I don't know, but I get by. Maybe we'll get some questions about that. Hold your questions till we open the Q&A portion of the call, folks. And we offer our tours are a little different. When we say goodbye to the folks like we did this morning, that's not the end. We included in our prices, we work with them to make the move here. We offer them our unlimited support. We do video calls. We build their checklist. They can email us, WhatsApp us, text us, any of their questions during the process. And so we have a 7-day cross-country tour. We cover the entire country in 7 days, go to 14 different expat type locations and see everything else in between. We're going to meet many expats throughout the country, have dinner and lunches with them. We're going to meet the experts, the immigration lawyers, the health insurance people. We're going to talk banking, shippers, all that stuff. That all happens on the tour. Then we have a 3-day Cherokee Highlands tour. For those of you who already know you want to live Boquete, Volcan, David, somewhere in between in the Cherokee province, this tour is for you. The tour we finished was a Cherokee Highlands tour. And it's just less time on the road, but you still get everything you get. We don't see all the beaches and the city. So, and it's half price of our regular tour. So our regular tour is $2,500 for a single, $4,000 for a couple. And then we have our Panama Total Access Pass, which is becoming very popular alternative for people who just don't. Either you can't get on a tour because they're typically sold out, but it's a full digital guide with every contact we've ever used in Panama and making the move to Panama, direct access to them. And you get a 460-page book with 64 chapters about moving to Panama. Quick look at it. You'll have a members area in here. And you just get a quick glimpse, and all these different topics that you see in here are in the members area. And then if you want to read the book, all these chapters about everything. Somebody mentioned pets, so I got to keep moving. I don't want people recording my screen, right? So you open the pet, and this is detailed. We do have it on our website, but this is totally very detailed aspect of moving your pets to Panama. And it's also available in a hardcover edition if you prefer to read sitting by the fireplace in your big chair. So that is who we are. So I'm going to unsave that screen. Now, the way it's going to work tonight is any of you that have typed questions in already, you're going to be typing them in again so I don't have to find them, but they're going to be under the Q&A section. Now, if you look on the chat, you'll now see an option for a Q&A also. So you need to type on that Q&A and enter your questions in there. I will quickly go back to see if anyone did type something in the chat, but get into the Q&A section there and type your questions. I can't put the questions on the screen when they're not in the Q&A section. So, Okay, I'm just looking back through here. RJ, hey RJ, this is where you ask the questions. This is what it's about tonight. Anything we're gonna ask and we're gonna answer, and that is it. So please get into the Q&A section, and yeah. Jim and Beth, hey, how are you guys? I'm really enjoying my new house. I'll tell you guys about it in a bit. If somebody asked a question about real estate and pricing, I now really get into that topic because, things are pretty exciting in Panama on that aspect compared to the rest of the world. hmm Okay, the questions are coming in. Mike asks, how much is the book? The book is not sold separately of the members area. The members area has two pricing, $497 for gold and $997 for platinum. The difference is basically how much access you have to Oscar, Megan, and myself. And with the platinum, you automatically get mailed the book immediately at no extra cost. If you do get the gold, you do have an option to get the book. But like I said, the entire book is available online now. But if you still like that hardcover feel, I'm not kidding you. It's for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a 460-page hardcover book with 64 chapters, like things many people probably haven't thought of. Of course, we talk about the history and culture of Panama, the food and everything. We go through about 25 different um, applications, not just a regular one to heard of. We got a real Santa Catalina, Altos del Mario, Cerro Azul, and of course we got the Boquetes, the Coronados, everything down the coast and stuff like that, and Bocas del Toro, healthcare, veterans benefits, emergency services, and not English 911, pets, buying vehicles, banking, rentals, real estate, working, opening a business, finding a job, making the checklist, planning the budgets, what to do with your housing situation, selling belongings, containers, vehicles, box shipping. As you know, I'm not going to read all 64 of them. All that's covered in the online digital guide or copy of it in the book. Okay. I'm ready to retire in Panama if I take a 7-day tour and then stay in Panama and work on my visa. Yes, Jack, we have many people do that. Typically, they come a few days early and stay a few days later. That typically works best with immigration because you can meet, but you have to start the process with the lawyer before, like a month or two before you get here, and we can help you do that. Like we'll connect you with the lawyer that you're going to meet here, and they're going to tell you what papers to bring depending on your situation, what to do with those papers, whether they need a notary or an authentication, and you're going to scan them and email them to them. They're going to confirm that they're 100% ready. So when you meet with them, they're ready for the immigration appointment, and then well, they're ready to present, and then they get an appointment for you to a few days later to pick up your card. So what a lot of people do is come in on the Monday and take the tour, which starts on the Thursday, and then go back to Panama City on the Friday and go pick up your card. Or you can do it in David in Boquete also. Okay. Okay. I'm a keen motorcyclist and enjoy exploring. What's the scene like in Panama in the event of breaking bones? What hospitals like through the country? Yeah, Andy, I drove a motorcycle here for my first year and a half. I did get rid of it. Remember, first of all, Panama's a tropical country. Between April and November, we get really heavy afternoon rains, which aren't not every day, But come October, November, they can be every day. But typically, April through September, they're a couple, 3 times a week, which is not very conducive to motorcycling. Our roads, besides our main roads, like the Inter America Highway across the Boquete Highway, the highway down to Petitsi, are not in that good a condition. As far as the main roads, we have some of the best in Central and South America, although there are potholes throughout. So if you're going to come down here, make sure you're insured on travel insurance before you come. Hospitals are fine, but depending on where you are, it might just be a public hospital, not a private hospital, but they're still going to fix you up. If you have insurance, they okay. Really enjoying the videos and content. I am a Canadian wondering what is becoming of resident in Panama. My government pensions would still be paid in full, or will the government retain a certain percentage? Hey, Roger, as a Canadian, I also am a Canadian from Vancouver, and you're going to have a couple options there. Some Canadians never change anything. They keep a Canadian bank, they keep a Canadian address, whether it's a family member, whether it's a box down the street, like not a P.O. box, but a mail forwarding person down the street. Their pensions are deposited into their bank account. They move the money to Panama when they need it. That way, you'll file taxes every year. They take off whatever tax. You might get a refund. You might owe more. Nothing really changes. The second method for Canadians, unlike the USA, we have the option of separating tax wise from Canada. Now, you can file as a non-resident if it makes sense for you, Roger. It has to make sense, meaning that you have to have more income than your pensions. So you might have income coming from stocks, bonds, other investments, but more income than pensions and RSPs. Then if you got outside income, then we have the expert. The people that take our tours, all the Canadians that are interested, sit down with a 30-year expert in this field who now lives in Panama. A former Canadian that works in finance is helping people, do the exit out of Panama or telling them whether it's worth it or not. Because if you do the exit from Panama, meaning you become a non-resident, they're going to withhold 25% of your pensions. Mhm. Now, typically, most people receiving, and depending how much pensions are, but let's say your pensions are 3 grand a month Canadian, you're probably getting taxed around 10, 12%, maybe 15. So you don't want to get taxed at 25. But if your pensions are 3,000 and your other investments are 5 to 10,000 a month, like maybe stocks, bonds, other just other investments, then it's probably smarter to become a non-resident and accept the 25% tax on your Canadian pensions because your net tax on everything would be higher. And then the experts will help you move your investments from Canada to an outside source where they're no longer taxable in Canada. So many options for you. Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I think I answered that, RJ. If you want to actually apply for the visa during a tour, you would, after you book the tour, you start communicating with us right away. And let's assess everything. Let's get you connected. Let's get you quotes on your immigration visa. Let you know what paperwork you're going to need, and it has to be done in a timely manner. Don't go out and get your paperwork now because it's going to be useless if you apply 6 months later because it all has to be within 6 months. And it's not a lot of paperwork, guys. So let's say you're applying for the pensionado. You need your pension letter downloaded from Social Security, Canada Pension, like Services Canada or Social Security site. You need a marriage certificate if you're married, and then you need a FBI or RCMP background check. Now, if you're going for a different visa, there's going to be different things that you need. If you have a private pension, you're going to need a little different stuff. You're going to need some letters from the pension administrators and stuff like that. Hi, Denise. This is always a hard one to answer, Denise, because I can say 500 to 5,000, but depending what you're looking for and exactly where are you looking for it. You can get in Boquete or Volcan nice homes in the 800 to 1,200 range. I'm talking about 2/3 bedroom, two bath bungalows with a decent yard. That's the starting price for stuff like that. You can get smaller stuff, casitas and stuff like that, still in the even $500 to $600 range. Or you can get 2,500 square foot split level, granite everything for 2,000 a month. And yes, you can get 5,000 too if you want to live in a mansion up in a mountain. There's one for rent right now. But 6,000 square feet is usually a little big for most people. I used to have a small workshop here in the U.S. Are there many residences that have workshops in Boquete area? Some do. It's very common for Panamanian men to have a little shed, like a he shed, that the tools are locked away in, and they do and they do workshop. So yeah, yeah, I have seen them for sure. Hey, Raymond, healthcare is important, yes. Now, I don't know, Raymond, top of my head here, forgive me, if you're US or Canadian. So I'm going to do both scenarios. If you're going to be here for 6 months and not, that means you're not a permanent resident of Panama. You might go for residency, but to get the full international insurance, you have to actually live here for more than 6 months. But so you're going to travel with travel insurance. Canadians, and you're going to buy that typically from home or from an international travel underwriter. We have a few that we use with our guests. So, but you're going to, but many of you might already be insured with international travel. Now, you really got to research ahead of time. We can help you. But if your provider is, I'm not saying accepted. Most all travel insurance is accepted here because you pay for the service first and then you get reimbursed afterwards. There are some direct billing happening now with insurance companies. Now, if you're from the US and have a Medicare Advantage plan, that's perfect for the 6 month in, 6 month out people because it's within the conforms of Medicare Advantage that you're allowed to travel out of the country for 6 months a year. They have no problem with that because you're back home in your zip code for the other 6 months. And most plans are now accepted and in Panama and paid for by the hospital. So you don't even have to pay and worry about reimbursement. And so that's the best plan. Unfortunately, Canadians don't have that option. So, but a lot of people are who are traveling or who first move here will use their medical care advantage the first year before they get settled in and get something that's better for someone who lives here full time. Because Medicare Advantage is only emergencies and the actual emergency. For example, if you go into the emergency room, let's say you think you're having a heart attack. Okay. You're not actually, but you think you're not well. You're in the emergency room. That is 100% covered by Medicare Advantage. But the next day, when you go back and see the doctor, he says, you need a heart stent. And we can do it next week, but that's not going to be covered by Medicare Advantage because you need to go home for that. As long as you are able to travel, they will not cover that. Mhm. RJ, all the hotels are included in our tour. You don't pay for hotels. Mhm. So when you land in Panama City, if you land on like if you land early, we can arrange airport pickup. If you land on arrival day, we're going to be there to pick you up, and we can take you to and we directly take you to the hotel, and for 7 nights, your hotels are paid for. So if you go in early when you book, talk to us. We'll tell you where we're staying. You can get our corporate rate. It's like $75 for a really classy downtown hotel. Nicole, do you have to carry a physical passport? It was okay to have a photo on your phone of your passport picture and the stamp. I read the law recently changed, but well, the law for that hasn't recently changed. The law is Panama is allowing digital ID, not mandatory, but it's allowing your cedula, and this is for residences, not for tourists. And I haven't done it because I always have my wallet and my ID on me, so I couldn't be bothered fumbling with my phone. But yes, the law is to carry your physical passport. But if you're in town and your passport's in your hotel safe, it's not a big deal to have a picture of it or a two-sided copy of it with it's got to have the entry stamp. But that entry stamp could be from anyone's passport. So the police, if they're suspicious about something, which they shouldn't be, you never see them hassling the North American foreigners. So I'm confident even telling our guests, okay, well, if you're not traveling across the country, going through points, you're just walking around town, you're probably okay with just a phone copy of your passport. But the law is, yes, you have to carry your ID. And Kirsten, there are no missing bathtubs. You got to think of where you are in Central America, 8 degrees from the equator. Bathtubs were never a Panamanian thing. Most people here don't have air conditioning, and who could jump into a hot, muggy bathtub when it's already 90 degrees in your house? So that's typically why they don't. Some of the bigger, fancy North American homes will have tubs. I've yet to have a tub in a home, and I just bought a house without a tub. So yeah, but that's typically why. It's I'm from Canada too. Of course, every house has a tub. Most of the U.S. does, but that's nice to sit in a hot, warm tub when it's cold outside. But remember, it's never cold outside. Hey, Andy, as a Brit who will have to give up my green card and move to Panama, I've understood Panama would only tax Panamanian sourced income. As all my income would come from overseas, would I be tax free? Okay, no, no, I'm so sorry. I don't even know why I said that, Nat and Andy. I'm a Canadian, which has the same tax laws as Great Britain, the tax by residency. Okay. Panama is one of the 12 countries in the world that has what's called a territorial tax system. Your income tax, you get charged income tax on Panamanian sourced income only. So I was in Canada making a great living online, and my effective tax rate was like 50%. I moved to Panama, got all my ducks in a row, got set up here with residency, got a work permit, don't really need a work permit for this, but got my tax residency here, and then filed non-residency in Canada. So no, I have not, and I still have clients outside of Panama, but nothing to do with this business that we're on here, but with the previous business I had when I moved down here. And yes, that income is tax free in Panama. Might be a U.S. customer or even a Canadian customer now, because I no longer file taxes in Canada and I'm no longer required to. Isn't that fun? All right. So would yes, your Medicare Advantage would cover you for emergencies? Yes, 100%. Now you can't get your hip replaced on the tour, but because it's so much cheaper here or easier to get in, you guys will be amazed how the healthcare system works in Panama. Especially when you have insurance, it's free. So let's not talk. Let's just talk about insurance. I am 61, probably the average age of people moving to Panama right now, and I pay 250 a month for 100% coverage. Like there's no copay in my coverage, and I have $1,000 a year deductible. Okay, now a doctor's visit is $15, 20 sometimes, depending on where you go. An X-ray is as little as $13. Had one in November. A specialist could be as high as 70. It's going to take a long time to reach that $1,000, but if I ever did, and then that would be covered. But a friend of mine, he was on our tour. He wasn't feeling well, and this is the heart stent story. He went in to see his doctor, paid $15, and the doctor said, I want to send you to a cardiologist. And then, like he goes, Rod, the guy got up and left the room. I didn't know what was going on. Well, he came back. The doctor came back 5 minutes later, and asked my friend, how's next Tuesday for you? We can get next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So that was like 4 days. He's in to see a cardiologist. He goes in to see the cardiologist, sees two of them in in the hospital. And doctors work independently of each other, by the way. So it wasn't as if the hospital was trying to sell. Doctors, when you have an event in a hospital, you pay the hospital their fee and you pay the doctor their fee. So two cardiologists told my friend he needs a heart stent and would he like to have it next week, the surgery. That's how fast it works down here. There's no wait times. You Canadians are freaking out right now. Okay, I'm just putting in a link for RT. I hope he's still there. He was asking for a link. Okay. Now, I've had health insurance the whole time I've been here. I've never used it, but I just get tired of hearing people, especially on Facebook, say, well, I canceled my health insurance because I never used it. Well, did you cancel your house insurance because your house didn't burn down? I'm glad haven't had to use mine. Really, Denise, unless you're custom building a home, there's no such thing as central air in Panama. They don't use it. They use split air conditioners throughout the house. Every room has its own air conditioner. It's the same thing as water heaters. They use instant water heaters as opposed to big tanks. Panamanians, I find very sensible. Why would you air condition your entire house, especially the three bedrooms that they aren't using right now? Or why would you heat 40 gallons of water if you're not using it? So they're very conscious to stuff like that. And I really like it because I now, I recently, 3 months ago, moved to Dolega and I purchased a home down here. It is 20 minutes south of Boquete and 20 minutes north of David. So kind of right in the middle. It is warmer here. So I have air conditioning in my rooms, but I don't need the air conditioner on in a room I'm not on. So my air conditioning, like my electric bill now, with and by the way, I am not a light user of electricity. Most people in Boquete in a 2, 3 bedroom home would not pay more than $40 in electricity. Well, I would, I now have a big backup system that I have a charger running all day, and I got four monitors in front of me. This one here I'm looking at is 40 inches, and that run all day. So, but my electric bill with electricity last month was 119, and that's without and it's new, so it's not reflecting the pensionable discount, which would make it more like $95. Hopefully next week the discount will be on. Mhm. Hi, Nicole. Possible but dangerous. Let me explain that. If you're applying for a friendly nation's visa, that's going to be worked out between the lawyer and the bank because you have to have the account before you get the visa. Immigration understands that, but the account is open based on so you can either deposit the money or pay for your house, but it's based on the fact that you are in the process of residency. Now, that's the only visa that really matters. And the all the other visas, you got to wait till you're in the process of residency to open your bank account. That can be a letter from your lawyer stating that Nicole is in the process of her pensionable visa, and yeah, so then you can start. Some places and some lawyers on Facebook, beware, folks. Let me tell you, I somebody mentioned to me, Rod, you keep calling it fake book. I got an email. Now, I can't tell you guys the detail because I had to send it to my lawyer. I got an email from a lady that worked for one of the big law firms in Panama City. And you've probably seen their name, that people have recommended them, people have said. And but this lady told me the story that she got fired because she refused to use her personal Facebook account to promote their company and pretend that she was someone she wasn't. And I call them trolls. They're in all industries here, whether it's real estate or immigration, stuff like that. They're people that work for people that are referring them. So you really got to be careful on what you see out there. So I think I've gone through the healthcare insurance options. Um, Orist, if you want to type again in there, so we'll see. Kirsten is asking how is the Iran war impact Panama politically, economically? Um, Politically, nothing. South America, Central America, we all basically have the same. Um, um, Remember, guys, questions not in the chat, in the Q&A section. It's a different button. So copy and paste what you got in the chat and put it into the Q&A. Um, it hasn't affected any air travel. We just went through a tour because it's really not much affected U.S. and South. Our gas prices will go up, but they haven't started to go up yet. So, okay, guys, I'm turning off the chat. Those of you who asked a question in the chat, please retype it into the Q&A. There's two buttons there, chat and Q&A. There we go. I'm seeing it now. And so it's gas prices will go up, but Panama does not speculate on gas prices. Panama buys its refined gasoline and diesel from everywhere from the US to I don't know what's happening with Venezuela, but from other places. And then when it comes in, the price is set for 2 weeks and then it's sold. But I'm assuming gas prices will go up everywhere. Yes. How do we pay for day-to-day items? Cash, credit card. We use U.S. or Canadian debit card. When you live here, get it. You get a Panamanian bank account. Yeah, that's where you want to pay for your, um, you know, daily items, especially if you rent. I know people that still haven't opened up a Panama bank account, and their rent's $1,000 a month. They go to the ATM and they have to withdraw $250 four times. That's the maximum it'll let you. And if you don't have a special bank that reverses your ATM charges back home, you're going to pay $7 for every one of those transactions. So it's just ludicrous. Where you can just and your landlord's not going to be credit card, so you can just send the money from your bank to their bank, and it's free. But if you're just coming here to visit, yeah, let your credit card companies know that you're visiting Panama, and you can use your credit cards. If you're using a Canadian credit card, you're going to get dinged around 2% on every transaction. So if you're really thinking of moving here, open yourself a US dollar account and get a credit card on that one. Hey, Kimberly. be able to purchase a vehicle in Panama before starting. We're thinking of moving down there. Yes, you absolutely can, Kimberly. A foreigner can purchase a vehicle. A foreigner can purchase a house. There's no restrictions on what a foreigner can open a business. So you don't have to have the visa to do that. I know quite a few 6 monthers that actually have purchased a vehicle and then they've made friends here and they leave it in their driveway or they look after it for the other 6 months. Hi, Kate. I'm 77. Is it true I'm too old to qualify for government health insurance? There is no such thing as government health insurance in Panama, Kate. There is a public system with anyone of any age can go to, and it's very inexpensive. Literally 50 cents to see a doctor, $3 for a specialist. A friend of mine in Panama City had a emergency. Oh God, my mind just went blank. The screen flickered. That's what got my um, brain going. Hernia. Yeah, his hernia burst. They rushed him to the public hospital. They did surgery right away. He was in there 3 days. He was kind of nervous. He's only off a small pension here. He got up to the cash register and it was $185 with the option to pay it over 12 months. Now, is it the best care? Is it better than private? Absolutely. It's not better than private. But you can get private health insurance. Up to 80 is not really an issue. Over 80, they're really going to question you. But it's a copay type of insurance where you're going to pay 30% and the hospital pays 80. So we have one of our guests doing that. That's the plan she opted for. And she's having a $8,000 back surgery and it's going to cost her $2,400. Now, this $8,000 back surgery, no doubt, in the States would be 40 grand. So, you know, okay. Yeah, Jack, I'm in good health. I'm 83. What do you do for insurance? That's good. If you're in excellent health, I had a 78-year-old recently, no problem getting it. The plan I just talked about. But once you get to 83, you probably, if you, I don't know where you're from, Jack. I should make people tell their country. But if you do have Medicare Advantage, emergencies would be covered, and you'd have to go home for the rest. Okay. Remember where the questions go, guys. I should have turned that chat off earlier. Sorry, guys. Hey, Charles. Again, I don't know where you're coming from. If you're searching for flights, guys, use Google Flights or something like that. I find that's the best one for getting the deals. It's high season right now. Any travel between December and April is more expensive than the rest of the time. So I would say the cheapest time to come here and the cheapest hotel rooms and the most availability is going to be April through October. Okay. I am eligible to request a pensionado visa. Would I later be able to get a work visa? I am not immediately available to fully retire and play golf all day. You cannot, 99.999% of the time, John, get a work visa on a pensionado. It's not designed for that. It's why they've made this visa so easy because there's no threat to Panamanian jobs. And what would you do, John? Like the salaries are 1/5 or less of what they are in the States. So if you wanted to pump gas, yeah, well, you're going to make maybe 500 a month. And that's 6 days a week. Mhm. So, a lot of us retired guys back in Canada and the US want to go out and keep busy, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Whether you go work in a warehouse or a retail store or work in a gas station. I started my life in a gas station. I thought, hey, maybe someday I might, but it wouldn't. It just doesn't make sense. So the answer to that, John, is no. If you were to open a business here, let's say as a pensionado visa, you opened a business like a restaurant. You can do that. You can't work in the restaurant on jobs that Panamanians could have, but that means you can still, order the food, do the books, hire the staff. You do the boss stuff, but you can't wait tables, you can't greet your guests, you can't run the cash register. Those are Panamanian jobs. After you have a successful business now for several years, they sometimes are. This is the one exception. Are allowing work visas. So, Jim and Beth, what do you use to transfer money from the U.S. to Panama? Okay. The only way to transfer money from a U.S. bank to a Panama bank is an international wire transfer using the SWIFT code system. We don't have Zelle. We don't have Vimeo. We have our own internal stuff that work just in Panama to do the same thing, whether it's Yapi or ACH Express. But the only way to transfer money bank to bank is through an international wire transfer. But if you live here, Jim and Beth, and you have a U.S. You're from the U.S. Bring U.S. personal checks, and you'll once you open a bank account here, you'll be able to deposit a personal check somewhere up to $3,000 to $5,000 once per month, and it does take 21 days to clear. Though they made a deal with U.S. clearinghouse to clear Panama U.S. checks in Panama, so a lot of people do that now. Or if you Social Security is your main funding source for your life, you can have that deposited into your Panamanian bank. That's a whole nother scene. Hey, Brian, yes, retail stores are open typically whenever they want to be. The only restriction is alcohol sales on 4 days out of the year. Don't ask why, but yeah, the 20th of December, 9th of January, Good Friday, and Easter Saturday. I think those are them. But yeah, Christmas Day is basically the only day that all the big stores close, and some of them close New Year's. But other than that, most things are open. But some of the grocery stores even stay open on Christmas. Okay. Tony, I plan to stay for 6 months. What type of visa would I need? Not retired yet, Canadian. You do not need any visa, Troy. Canadians and U.S. folks get 180-day visitor visa by bringing your passport and letting the officer put a stamp in it. That's only Canada and the U.S. 180 days. Most other countries are 90. And don't always think 6 months means 180 because it doesn't. You got to count it out. They get really upset if you're 1 day late and they make you pay $50. I got to ask, is there many expat groups in or near Dolega? No. There are expats in or near Dolega, but most of them head to Boketi or Davi for the expat hangouts and meetups. Okay. All right. What did I miss? I don't think I missed anything. How do we pay for day-to-day items? Got that one. Got that one. Oh. All right. Any other questions, guys? What didn't we cover? Here they come. We'll be looking to buy a house when we move there. What is involved? Buying a house, Jim and Beth, is really not much different than the U.S. Besides the fact there's no such thing as title insurance, so you got to have the best lawyer in the country. Like really get a good lawyer. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't do it until you settled 6 months and really decided on your area. But the process, I did it. All depends. If you're buying with cash, probably because not many foreigners are going to get a mortgage here since they're retired. Um, the process can happen within 30 days if everything is good. Typical average is probably 60 days. But that's why, if it's such a clean deal, it can happen quick. But your lawyer is going to tell you basically when he sees all the documents, okay, we're going to need some time because we got to request this, and this, and that, and we got to wait for it. So, good question, Joyce and Danny. When you get your e-cedula, do you still have to carry your passport? Nope. You can put that passport in your home safe and take it out only when you have an international flight. You don't even need it. I don't even take mine to board flights to between Panama City and Delhi. I just use my cedula. And people will say, what is an e-cedula? An e-cedula is an optional piece of ID that you can get after you've done your permanent residency. Now, why it's so important, we always recommend our guests do it. Your passport, everything in Panama, when you first come here, is going to be tied to your passport. That's your immigration, that is your cell phones, your bank. If you buy a car, it's going to be your passport number is going to be on the title. If you buy a house, the passport's going to be on the lien or the title. So when your passport changes every 10 years, or if you lose it more often, you got to go to all those places and change it. Because if a couple own, let's say you own a car and it's in the husband's name and his passport is on the car, but his cedula is on his driver's license, and he passes away, you're going to have a heck of a time getting that car into the wedge thing because the documents are not in order. So the cedula never changes. The number is always the same forever. So spend the $150, do it yourself, get a lawyer to do it for $400, and you'll be good to go. It's a one-time fee. Besides getting a card, I think it was $32 to get a new card in 10 years. What is the time span? Hey, Raymond. The actual law is written as 180 days and then return to your home country for 30 days. For North Americans, do they enforce that fully? They can. At the Costa Rica border, yes. If you try to cross there, they are more likely to enforce it. If you fly out, do you have to go to your home country, or can you just go to Colombia or something like that? More than likely, the first time. If you do it again, Panama has really cracked down in the last 5 years on perpetual tourists. That's what I call it. People that live here forever without getting a visa. Now, why do they do it? If you're bringing in income, I don't know. They want you to invest, or they want you to be legal. By the way, you can stay 180 days, but you can only drive for 90. Your driver's license is not valid after 90 days. So if you want to continue to drive, you do have to exit. You get caught without the license, they're taking the car. And that would be a bad day. No, that's not 180 days. That's 180 days from the first stamp, 180 days later. So you can't go, if you go out in 90 days to reset your driver's license, that you can maybe just, if you're in Boquete, just go to Costa Rica for a day or two and come back. That doesn't start at 180 again. It's from that first stamp. And it's totally up to the customs officer to make that judgment. So technically, you can stay at 180, go out 30, come back 180. But if you keep doing that, they can deny you entry. Do they? Not very often. No, you can basically put your permanent visa in the drawer. I don't even know where my permanent visa is anymore. So, no, they don't put the cedula onto the permanent visa choice. Okay. All right. Did you guys question? Are you guys all questioned out? Let's see. go. Here, I'll show you guys something. I'll show you what you can get in Panama for what kind of price. It's kind of funny. People have told me, I lived here 14 years, and they say, why are you still renting? Why are you still renting? Well, I was never really had the budget to buy. I don't know if that's the best picture. It was still under construction there. I bought it right at the end of construction. I wasn't in the process of it. It's 1,350 square feet on a quarter acre or 1,000 meter for you Canadians. These sell regularly around here for under $135,000. I purchased at the 120 price point, and I'm just telling you guys to be honest, because stop listening to everyone telling you that prices are going up like crazy. We've never had the 120 to 220 price point in Boquete since I've lived here. Now it's all over the place. There's one down the street. It's beautiful. It's 1,750 square foot, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, granite all over the countertops going in. I stopped by on my walk and looked at it. Big dining room with a patio onto a covered deck. They're going to be asking 175. So there's lots in that price range to buy now in this country. So your driver's license is good for 90 days from the time you enter the country as a tourist. Now, if you get your residence in that 90 days, you have to get your Panama license right away. So then you're not covered. But if you didn't get your residency, you have to leave the country and come back in. I wouldn't do it the same day, but you don't have to leave for any large period of time. A lot of people go to Costa Rica. A lot of people fly to Colombia. It's only an hour, 20 minutes away, and it's a great vacation weekend. And that'll reset your driver's license for another 90 days. But then when you hit the 180, it's time to get out of the country for a little more than a day if you want to try to reset your visa. Okay. Oh, I just found out we're using a new platform now, which I like. It seems very stable. I just found out how to sort the Q&A. Megan and I couldn't figure that out last week. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna call it a night. We'll be back. I'll be back with Megan and maybe Oscar next week. All right, folks. Everyone have a good night, and we will talk with you soon.